Don't you think you should go and help your future parents-in-law on their new site? Or better still, take food to them? Asked Linda. No, I don't want to. I plan to call my future mother-in-law later and greet her though, said Lydie. Linda, a married woman of 5 years, stared at her single friend and shook her head. You want your mother-in-law to love you, you better start attracting her favor from now. I know what I am going through in the hands of my mother-in-law, despite how kind I was to her before their son married me. I'm sure it would have been worse, if not for the kindness I have shown her many times, she said. Lydie chuckled. So what's the point? You started being kind to her before her son married you. Yet she has been nothing but unkind to you. So what does that teach us? It means you can't buy love. We love you, we love you. So let me be. What would you like to have for lunch? Lydie asked her friend as she went to the kitchen. Some weeks later, Lydie had called her friend on phone to greet her. After exchanging pleasantries, why are you sounding like that? Asked Lydie. Like what? Replied Linda. I can feel you sniffing. Have you been crying? There was silence. Linda, talk to me. Lydie pressed on. You know I call my mother-in-law every week to greet her. This week, she hasn't been picking my calls. I have called her on 4 different days at different times. At first, I was even afraid something was wrong. Not until my husband called her in my presence and she picked at the first attempt. I know this woman doesn't like me, but when did it escalate to her not picking my calls? If you ask me, now who I go ask? Linda replied. But why are you calling someone that doesn't love you every week? Aren't you loved her too? She asked. You are single, so you don't understand, Linda said. Oh, make me understand. If someone doesn't like you after repeated attempts, is that not a sign that you should stay away from them? Lydie, it's my mother-in-law we are talking about here, Linda said. I know. Stop being desperate for love. Does he live in your house? Why can't you face your husband and face your front? By the way, have you told your husband about this? I didn't actually tell him what happened. I just told him to call Mama while I sat beside him. My mother-in-law doesn't like me reporting her to her son. The few times I did, it was war. I hated myself. Let me run along. I have to go and pick up my children from school, she said. Lydie dropped the call and kept wondering what was wrong with her friend. She wondered if she would also have the same issues with her future mother-in-law as she was getting married soon. It's better not be so, she muttered. Then suddenly, it occurred to her that she had promised herself to call her future mother-in-law to greet her some weeks ago, but she hadn't. She brought out her phone and called. Lydie, now what for you? Didn't Dayo tell you we went to work on site the other time? Asked Dayo's mother. He told me, ma. I'm deeply sorry. I wanted to call you to greet you afterwards, but I forgot, said Lydie. Is that what I am expecting from you? You think it's as cheap as a call? So you couldn't bring food over to the site, and you live in this same city with us. Were you not supposed to join us for the work? Are you sure you'll be a good wife like this? Queried Dayo's mother. Please, ma, is working on the farm what makes one a good wife? Oh, so you are now asking me questions. We haven't even married you. Wow, said Dayo's mother, who cut the call. Lydie's sister had entered the room during her phone call. Was that your future mother-in-law? Asked Funke, who had listened to a part of the conversation. Yes. Was I rude to her in my tone? Asked Lydie. You were firm, yet polite, and I like that. What really happened? She asked. Lydie explained. It is not your duty to do what she is expecting from you. Their son isn't doing you a favor, so let her cut the crap, she said. Funke did what she wanted to do in the living room and went back in. Lydie was in deep thoughts. Something told her she was wrong, The greater part of her being told her she was right. She tried calling Dayo's mother to apologize though, but when she didn't pick after the first attempt, she stopped. When she told Linda about it, Linda was dramatic about it and suggested they take a basket of food to her house to beg her. I will do no such thing. I won't start what I can't finish. I don't force people to love me. I stay where I am celebrated, said Lady. Linda tried to convince her that it takes a lot for one's future mother-in-law to love them, so they must be wooed over. All her pleas to visit Dayo's mother with a basket of fruits fell on deaf ears. What did Dayo say about this anyway? Linda asked. I explained my part of the story to him and he understood. He knows how dramatic his mother can be, so he has warned me about her, Laide said. He is saying that because he's yet to marry you. By the time you become his wife, it's a different ball game. He will support his mother more than you. Few weeks later, Laide and Dayo got married. It was an eventful one. Dayo's mother had slapped one of Laide's sisters at their wedding after that one refused to let her direct food to her people repeatedly. Folu had maintained that there were people who were yet to eat at all, and it was wrong for her to keep diverting food to the same set of people. Dayo's mother had slapped her at the caterer stand. Folu was shocked. She felt like reciprocating, but her home training held her back. She walked out angrily and went to sulk in a corner. After the event, she had told her mother, who begged her, even though she was shocked at the news. According to her, they can't afford to complicate things for Laide, which fighting back would bring, so they decided to keep her out of it. A week later, Laide had called her mother-in-law to thank her for her active participation during the wedding. Oh, so you just deemed it fit to greet me. This is a week after your wedding, and my number disappeared from your phone since then, only to reappear, said Dayo's mother. I'm sorry, ma. I've been quite busy, and as she was talking, Dayo's mother said, get off the phone for me and let me speak to this important person calling me. Who has your time? Laide stared at her phone, trying to wonder if she was in a dreamland. Does this woman think I am one of those ladies she can disrespect? She went into her husband. I won't be building any relationship with your mother. I have seen her attitude and I would like to stay far from her, she said. I suggest you stay away from her. Sorry for what she did to you, said Dayo. True to her saying, she didn't call her mother-in-law for the next 9 months. All through her pregnancy journey, she didn't call her. Dayo's mother had complained to her son and called his wife a bad wife, had refused to call Laide. Her pride didn't let her. Laide had refused to call her too. When she fell sick and was admitted to the hospital, Laide had gone there with provisions. She stayed for 5 minutes and left. Ah, your mother-in-law is in the hospital and you are here watching TV? Asked Linda, who opened her mouth to exclaim. Am I a child? Doesn't she have a daughter? You have become a child by virtue of marriage. In fact, you have to earn her love, and you are not doing that, Linda said. Oh, I went there with some provisions, so I am aware I owe her some kindness, but I am not directly responsible for taking care of her. It is my mother I owe such service. She trained my husband, not me. Thank God my husband understands these things, she said, yawned and went into the room. Linda was afraid for her. This girl wants to lose her marriage so fast, she muttered. She had gone to the hospital at another time with a box of gifts. When she entered the ward, her mother-in-law didn't respond to her greetings. Her daughter, Dayo's younger sister, has welcomed her and collected the box of gifts happily from her. Few minutes later, Laide left. Ma was discharged some days later. Dayo had been acting funny at home. His wife noticed he was avoiding her, so she asked him why. Why didn't you spend time to take care of my mother when you came to the hospital? You came arrogantly with boxes of gifts to show her you are rich. You didn't sit by her bedside and comfort her," he queried. Laide was silent. She listened as her husband ranted on. When he was done, she stood up and left the room. She felt betrayed by her husband. She had felt he was on her side. "Gifts that cost me over 100,000 naira is what they still don't appreciate," she said. She refused to call her mother-in-law since then, even when she gave birth, and her mother-in-law came only on the christening day. She wasn't bothered. Linda had advised her that it was a sign of displeasure from the woman and urged her to go and beg her. "I haven't done anything to the woman, so I owe her no apology. If anything, she's the one that owes me apologies," said Laide as she continued feeding her baby. Her husband had stopped discussing his mother with Laide after the day she warned him that if he wanted to enjoy the marriage, he shouldn't force her to be friends with whom she doesn't want to be friends with. She shouted at her husband that day in a way she had never done. Dayo was shocked and since then had avoided the discussion with her. One day, Dayo's mother had gone to the salon to make her hair. While she was there, two women were discussing someone's kindness to them. They were talking about how she keeps giving them food and clothes since she got to know they are widows. Dayo's mother listened intently because the person they were discussing sounded like who she knows. Listening for about 10 minutes, she was so sure it was Laide, her daughter-in-law, that they were talking about. It occurred to her that she had been missing a lot by brewing a cold war between them. If she could be this generous to strangers, how much me, she said. She picked her phone and called Laide. She didn't pick. She decided to visit them. She went with a lot of gifts, and on getting there, she apologized to Laide, who wasn't impressed. She wasn't in a hurry to forgive her, as she still kept her distance from her mother-in-law. The mother-in-law began to woo her, and after repeated efforts, Laide decided to forgive her and accept her as a mother.